to the Live Lounge. I'm your host for the evening, Caroline Crawford.
And I'm Paul Crawford.
And Christine is going to be joining us from her sprawling oaks farm a little later on the show. We have a great show this evening and Paul is going to tell you all about it.
Yeah, it's all about mastering your life through mastering your thoughts.
Hey.
And it's about creating the changes necessary to create a more uplifting, a more expansive life for you. So to begin with, I'm going to get Caroline to kick things off with what she thinks about thoughts.
So yeah, mastering your thoughts. Well, before I say anything, I'm just going to say that this subject of mastering your thoughts to master your life has been the biggest influential change and catalyst in my life, I have to say. So we live by it, we live our lives like it, and I think this is why we really enjoy teaching this subject. So your thoughts create your world. Your life is as you think, so you become. And everything begins with a thought. So whether that's booking a vacation, a holiday, going out for a meal, a relationship, the job you choose, making breakfast or coffee, everything is initiated with a thought. So thoughts are creative, they are energy, and as we said on the previous show, thoughts are energy and energy exists everywhere. Now thoughts have their own individual frequency, their own vibration, so to speak.
Hey.
And certain thoughts have higher vibration and the lower thoughts obviously then emit a lower vibration. And as we think, we're emitting a signal out into the universe, which I'll explain a little bit more about in a moment. But thoughts of a higher nature, such as appreciation, love, compassion, abundance, all these thoughts create a much higher frequency, and as we have higher feeling thoughts, that creates a higher emotion in our bodies, so we feel good. It's like our barometer, and how we're thinking is how we're feeling. And on the other hand, thoughts of a lower nature, of depression, of maybe anger, of revenge, of jealousy, of competition in an unhealthy way, thoughts of even feeling unworthiness or feelings of guilt from the past, all these lower a vibration. And I'm sure I don't have to tell you how you feel when you have consistent thoughts.
Exactly.
It is when they're consistent that they have obviously a stronger impact on our lives. Now, thoughts are the body's electrical impulses and they can be measured. There are machines, if you Google it, that measure the body's thoughts because they are electrical impulses that go out into the universe, as I said. And emotions are magnetic waves. So, to me, thoughts are a bit more direct and emotions are either nice and relaxed and calm or not so calm, depending on what thoughts you're having. Yeah. Now, together, thoughts and our emotions form what is known as a biofeedback loop. So how this works is, as we think, as I said a little earlier, we're emitting a signal, rather like a radio mast, a radio signal. We are emitting out an energy, and that is looped back to us, reflected back to us from the universe. So if we're having thoughts of a good nature, a positive nature, abundant, passionate thoughts, loving thoughts, then that's what our life is going to reflect back to us. And again, on the other hand, if they're not so good, we're going to have a bit of a rough time. We've all had times when maybe somebody said something, or we've seen something in the news, or heard something, or seen something on our phone that's really distressing, and it can really upset us. And when that happens, it's a really good thing to think, that is not my reality. That is not what is happening in my mind and my life now. and then focus back on something that you love and enjoy. It might be, you know, stroke your pet, talk to a trusted, supportive friend. You know, I always think with this work, I know I've been extremely blessed that, you know, I found out about this, I'll tell you a little bit later, quite early in life, and I was with Paul, and Paul thinks very much along the same lines, and we've sort of, well, we've been on this path together.
I mean, I think it definitely helps, you know, that interaction, and I think when you're supportive of each other, and you're on the same wavelength of thinking, that it is more supportive, isn't it? It's more you're more understanding of what's going on.
You are. So when I said about this loop, what I was going to say is, as we send out these thoughts and they come back to us, this is where we need to become more conscious, more mindful and aware of our thoughts, because the mind and the thoughts can be reprogrammed. Just the same as a computer, like software, we can upgrade, we can download new thoughts, and I've been getting a lot of downloads lately. For you that meditate, you'll know what I mean. I've been having some really big downloads. But these thoughts, we need to choose thoughts that are empowering, that are nourishing to us, that are very more self-accepting, more self-loving, more taking more care of ourselves. Because as we do that, we're programming our thoughts, we're programming the body in a positive way. Rather like, you know, taking care of your garden, you'd water your plants, you'd give them fertilizer, which is like, you know, the thoughts are like food for the body. So choose your thoughts, be aware of your thoughts, become more conscious, and remember that everything has its time. Timing is so vital in our lives. You know, there might be a time you look back in your childhood and of course you thought differently. And I'm going to talk a little bit more later on about not judging your old thoughts, just acknowledging them, releasing them, and upgrading to a better way of thinking. So you can approach life from a more positive outlook, with more positive thoughts that are then going to help you awaken to this deeper wisdom within. And it doesn't matter how long you've thought a certain way, if you need to release it, because the good thing is the power, when we start to make these changes, the power is in the present moment.
It's always in the present moment.
And that to me is very liberating, because you can start at a point you choose to begin afresh, to start having new thoughts. That is what counts, and that is what will take us forward. So having a positive, healthy attitude about ourselves, and also cultivating a strong spiritual connection, making that daily sacred time, establishing, you know, new routines, new habits with new thoughts that are nourishing and uplifting to you. And as I say, your barometer is how you're feeling, and that is what can take you forwards to new ways of thinking, new beliefs, and creating a better life that you're really happy with, and mastering your thoughts, mastering your life.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? And it's giving yourself permission to move forward with that. So, and for me, I think, as you've already said, that everything begins with a conscious thought. But what tends to happen is that we can often get into these ruts, you know, some negative things happen, and they're repeatedly happening. So, and because we're repeatedly putting that energy into that same thing, that same thought, and that emotion creates the same, or even more of that same thing, as you were saying about everything becomes reflected from ourselves, that we actually start absorbing that into our body, our physical being, which actually acts as our memory. It's like the memory of all that's gone on before. And that will be about 95% of who we are. Memories of 95% of who we are. And if these...
That's a lot.
Well, it is. But if it's filled with memories that are of a more negative nature, then that's what's actually is being reenacted in our lives every day. So when you think about it, that then leaves 5% for us to create thoughts that are more of greater health, of greater abundance, of greater well-being, of a deeper understanding, and more expansive thoughts. But what it is, it's about allowing ourselves then to realign, because at that time the conscious thought and the mind is really sending out a separate message compared to what is being stored in the body.
Yeah.
So it's about aligning everything. It's about aligning the body, about the emotions, the energy, and the mind, the thoughts. And once they're all aligned, it's easier then to actually direct everything into that new way of thinking, that more uplifting way of thinking.
Kind of like having your car on the right way. If your wheels are not tracking properly, you're going to find a bit of a bumpy ride, but the ride becomes smoother when everything is in alignment.
But I think as well, it's about practicing it, and it's about keep on doing it, and it's about catching those thoughts earlier in the process to stop them becoming like overtaking the situation. And I think that's why sports people, they keep practicing, they keep drilling themselves so that it becomes not just muscle memory, but it's about the emotion, it's about the mental thought process and everything else. So everything intertwines, because when we're under stress, and most people live about 70% of their lives either in survival mode or in stress, and we tend to revert to our body memory, that 95%, that unconscious, that subconscious, that is actually driving things
back into our shell.
Well, exactly,
almost, don't we?
And it's all those old fearful thoughts come up. So if we can actually more consciously work on expanding those more positive thoughts and keep practicing them, they then start to take over and replace some of the old negative memories, and they become our new memories, and it's going to be a lot more expansive for us.
I think for us or a big thing is noticing your thoughts. You know, when you're not feeling great, I will say to myself, you know, like the other day, let you into a secret, I had a headache for quite some time, which is very unlike me, isn't it?
It's not usual.
And I thought, what is going on here? What have I been thinking that has caused this headache? And it was only when I did a little bit of meditation, because often, and Christine's going to be discussing this with you in a moment, discovering the hidden ways we sabotage ourselves. And that is exactly what was going on. I was having a little bit of self-doubt, and I thought, right, let's clear that. And you know, I'm not joking. The minute I had that thought and I realised what I'd been doing, and I changed it and did some positive affirmation, it went, and I haven't had that. So it is amazing how, you know, I think we said last time, you can't separate the mind from the body. Just like the universe, everything is interconnected, everything. But get into the habit of asking yourself questions.
I think questions are always, and open questions as well, and then allowing yourself the freedom to move forward without any judgment. And I think that's as you said, that's a key thing. You know, not judging ourselves, because when we're judging ourselves, we're often bringing up those voices from the past where maybe others have judged us and made some negative comments to us.
Oh, I mean, growing up in childhood, you know, I think that's my big thing, was I didn't feel good enough. And that I'm hoping, you know, I've worked on so much, but you know, every so often, like I say, that little critical voice raises its head, maybe if we're a bit tired, or maybe if we've had a lot of things going on around us that may be not as positive as usual. But once we tap into that higher energy of our intuition and merge with those thoughts and listen, then through compassionate self-reflection, we can make enormous changes and take huge steps forward when we stop judging ourselves, stop criticising ourselves, and choose thoughts of greater patience, of greater gentleness, you know, but it's being consistent with the work, consistently working towards what you wish to achieve, what positive changes you want to make with a more positive attitude, and that will help you move forward. And humour, I've got Paul, who keeps me
well, I do
forever laughing, I can tell you.
Sometimes it's not intentional, but hey ho, as long as it gets a laugh from it.
Yeah.
But I think as well, it's the aspects that the experiences in life that are maybe very traumatic, that create a very strong energy within us, that are then really stored within us as a memory, that then gets triggered along the way. So it's about, you know, learning ways of dealing with that, and we'll come to that later on, the different ways of dealing with that. But it's, as I say, it's doing it in a very gentle way. No judgment. No like wagging the finger at yourself. No. Just be open and loving, and let's allow things to expand from that. But with consistent effort.
I mean, and you're bound to have little, what I call little wobbles along the way, but see these as, you know, almost like, I do love a challenge. I've always loved a challenge from a young age, and see it as a thing, no, I'm going to rise above that. You know, I'm not going to let that fearful thought or that worrying thought or that self-doubt control me. I'm going to take control of my thoughts. I'm going to replace them with something loving, self-accepting, compassionate, you know, and I think nature, music, animals are all perfect healers for us. So,
well, I think that's a way forward itself, you know, just being willing to make and open to making the changes. So hey.
Oh, we're going to have are we having a little story?
Yes, little stories, I think.
I'd forgotten all about that, to be honest. So, and I'm not going to criticise myself. No. It's okay.
That's okay.
So who's going first?
Yeah, well, I'll go off first. I mean, it's only a short story.
It is.
And I mentioned a couple of weeks ago about that when I was 15, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, which is inflammation and ulceration of the insides of your digestive tract. So that can be from anything from your mouth all the way down to your large intestines. So, and when I was 15, the doctor said to me, "You've got this for life." And at that age, that was very traumatic for me. And it wasn't until later on that I started thinking, well, and when we started reading more into this aspect of life, thinking, well, do you know what? That's just their opinion. You know, why should I accept somebody else's limiting opinion? And then I started to work on my thoughts. And it took a little while. It took a lot of effort and consistency to actually overcome that sort of strong negative energy that was implanted in me. And I really did feel it resonating throughout everything. But as soon as I started changing my thoughts and consistently changing them, and really instilled that belief that no, I'm not like everybody else. I'm unique, as we all are. We're all unique beings. And to allow myself the freedom to actually make more empowering choices, have more empowering thoughts. And to say to myself, well, to be honest, I won't say exactly what I thought, but I thought, well, I'm not going to listen to them. Yes, they're doctors and they're good for what they do in certain things, but I'm the creator of my life. And I take that responsibility and I choose to have new thoughts. And I mean, I've been clear for like 30 years, over 30 years now. And about 10 years ago, I had a checkup with a consultant, and he was amazed. He said, "You haven't had any. There's no disease there. You haven't had." He said, "I've never seen this before." He said, "Normally it comes back within a couple of years or so." But and I put that down to having that positive energy, that positive thought, and changing that vibration within myself. And I think that made all the difference.
Yeah, because when you change your thoughts, you change your vibration. So that vibration that goes out, obviously, is going to be something better coming back. But would you mind if I just said, I know with Paul also made a big change. When we were very young, in our early 20s, Paul used to have a bit of a problem. And I think a lot of men have this, where he didn't celebrate himself, his achievements. I remember you got promoted at work, And I thought that was brilliant. You know, and this is true, I actually got banners, congratulations. But then he come in, he was like, oh, what's that for? I said, you know, that's brilliant. You've got a promotion. Yeah. You should be really proud. And he never knew how to be proud of yourself,
I think it was, because I always think there was something more, and there's something more. And it's like the old adage, if there's always going to be something else, I'll be happy when it's that. I'll be happy when that never comes. So the happiness never comes. So it's about being in the moment. Yeah. And that's where your power is.
It is.
In the present moment.
So my story, again, it was in the 80s, and we'd been trying for a baby, hadn't we?
Yeah,
another baby.
Yes.
Another one. And I've had a couple of miscarriages, and then I had what is known as an ectopic pregnancy, where it gets stuck in the tube. Now, it can be life-threatening, but I'm here.
Yeah, you are.
But what happened was, after that experience, I went into my shell, and I think I did that, I'm not good enough, why is this happening to me, it's not fair, all that disempowering rubbish. I was going to say another word, I better not. But, you know, so I went to the doctor a long time ago, and I was hoping they'd sort of perhaps recommend some counselling or something, because I was quite depressed, and the only thing they could offer me was antidepressants, and I thought, I am not taking them.
No.
You know, I had them before, because I had suffered with depression years before, but I'd become much more self-aware. So I chose to go for some reflexology, which was really quite unheard of. It was quite rare, but can you believe that was a reflexology practicing, a reflexologist, just 5 minute walk.
Yeah, it's just around the corner, really.
From our house. And going there, I mean, the reflexology is brilliant. I love it. It's one of my favourite things because it's completely natural. So I had some reflexology, but she recommended me this book. I'm going to show you it because I bought so many copies and gave to clients and friends, and then I bought a hard copy because I thought I can't keep buying this book. People are going to have to get their own. But this book was a catalyst to changing my life, and it is Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. So, and she's a great advocate. I mean, she's passed away now, bless her soul. And I actually met her. I actually hugged her at Wembley in London. I said that's my claim to fame. But, you know, I just took her teachings and ran with them. And, you know, your thoughts create your reality. There's always something within you that is causing whatever you've got going on in your life. So I think that book was a great catalyst for me. It really did transform the way I think. And as I say, I've just kept building on that. You know, I feel Louise Hay laid the foundations, but I just continued to build and, you know, just create a much more positive vibration, a happier vibration, and to become the person that now I am really truly happy with. And, you know, I love sharing teachings with others, and I think that's how we learn the most, when we go through certain experiences and come out the other side.
But I think it is a building, it's like building bricks, you know, it's like building a house. You start off with a strong foundation and then you build up each course from that. But if you rush ahead, it's not going to be as strong.
No.
So, and that's what you've done. Well, that's what we've both done. You know, and it is about layers and layering. You know.
One more thing before we go over to Christine, I would just say, I know what helped me, not just thinking positive thoughts, but I feel it's always important to write them down, because I feel they go in more then. And if you're wanting to create something, think about it, visualize it, you know, a little bit each day, even if it's a few minutes, then let it go. But by visualizing it and thinking and imagining that it's already taken place, it is already in your life, then you create a vibrational match to whatever it is you desire, and you draw that to you. I'll talk a tiny bit more about that in tips and techniques, but creating the vibration within yourself as though that desire, that goal that you want to achieve has already happened. So you're not focusing on the lack of it, focusing on bringing that into your life. So we're going to go over to my soul sister, Christine, at Sprawling Oaks Farm. And Christine,
hello,
my darling, is going to talk about... She's going to talk about how to discover the hidden ways we sabotage ourselves with negative thoughts. So, welcome, my darling. Over to you.
Good day and good evening, and it's great to be here as always, so thank you for that great introduction. And it's my turn now. I get to share about some ideas about mastering your thoughts in order to master your life, because I know for me, what I noticed was that there are a lot of things going on inside this little head of mine that I don't always know about, that I'm not always self-aware about, right? We've heard of the subconscious. So the subconscious is the part of ourselves that we're not always paying attention to, and they are thoughts that are going on in our head, but we don't know that they're there. So I wanted to share with you all today how to discover a hidden way, discover the hidden ways that we self-sabotage ourselves. And one of those ways is that we have a hard time becoming aware of that subconscious. So this is really beautifully tied into what Caroline said earlier, because she was talking about the biofeedback and about what goes out comes back. And the beautiful thing is this fits right in, because I know for me, when you think about things like manifesting what you want in your life, and of course, whatever energies you put out also come back to you. But here is how I use this as a tool to discover these hidden thoughts that you have. So I want you all to think about, just on your own, just think about yourself in your mind. If there is anything that's like a pet peeve, or there's a person in your life that really irks you, or just these things that nag at you, and usually they come from other people. Like if that person that cuts you off in traffic, or that friend that just talks your ear off forever, or, you know, there's a million different examples. So the reason this is important is because this is a lot about this biofeedback loop. What we don't recognize is anything that triggers us in any way at all is a mirror for us to find and discover an aspect of us that we're not paying attention to, or that we're not self-aware about. So I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to be really brave and really vulnerable with you, because this is very embarrassing. But this is another thing that Caroline talked about earlier, which we have to have a very compassionate self-reflection. So when we look at these aspects of ourselves, and this is what I do with my shadow work, these parts that aren't very pleasant to look at, you just have to look at yourself very lovingly. So I'm going to share with you one of my pet peeves in life is I really don't like stupid people. Okay? Okay. So, and you know how we say these things in our head, and we're really embarrassed to say that, right? Are we really embarrassed to say, you know, something really crude like that? You're saying it in your head, right? You know you're saying that. Like, oh, stupid people. So this is one day
Can I just say something?
Well, yes, go ahead, Caroline.
We're actually we're not going to discuss politics, but we're right in the middle of a big election in America. So, you know, I think people will understand what is going on with pet peeves.
Yes, and things that grate under your skin. So, but the beautiful thing is this is a tool. This isn't about getting angry at anything outside of us, because here you go. Everything we see outside that irks us is a reflection of something within. So I had this thing about stupid people, and I finally recognized it. I've been saying it for a long time, and I was like, wait a minute. I keep complaining about this. So I had to do some reflection. I did some journaling. I took some walks, and I asked myself the question, what does this attitude reflect in me? This whole idea about not liking stupid people, right? What is this aspect within me that is reflecting? And it took me some time to figure it out, but I finally did figure it out, that I am so afraid of looking stupid. So because I'm so afraid of looking stupid, and I react to being afraid of looking stupid, and sometimes I don't step out in my power, and sometimes I don't trust my authenticity, and sometimes I'm afraid to say the thing that I really want to say, because this dark aspect of me is afraid of looking stupid. So the beautiful thing is I was able to use this thing that I thought was someone else's problem. When once I took it as a tool to reflect myself, then I knew that this is now something I need to work on within me. And I've got more details because I don't want to take up too much time because I have my little time slot here. But in the show notes that we have posted on the website over at soulcrew.biz, I've given some details, but we're also, I'm sure Caroline and Paul are going to share some things on some tips and tricks on ways to overcome those things, because once we realize those aspects of ourselves or those thoughts that we want to change, there's a lot of different things that we can do. And I have a few suggestions that are on the website so you can read through those. And then now that I've shared that information with you about looking for these triggers and looking for these mirrors that reflect you so that you can improve your self-reflection, I'm going to turn it right back over to Caroline and Paul.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christine. Brilliant as always. Just shine your light.
Yeah.
And that is funny, you know, because when you learn that everything you're seeing out there is a reflection of you within, if there's something you don't like, what is it you haven't come to terms with or changed within you, it really makes you think. So, and I think it's, you know, a big thing that we've been talking about is not judging. So, you know, when we're less judgmental of ourselves, we notice we're less judgmental of others.
Yeah.
So I use my humour. There isn't many people, I have to say, that get under my skin, because I just use my humour and just, I'm not going to say, but just call them, you know, maybe a fool or something, but and laugh about it, because, you know, and it is a reflection, because if we're really angry within, we project that onto others. That's another thing, but let's not get into a whole other subject. But going into tips and techniques.
Well, can I just say thank you very much? Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, stay online with us. So before we go into techniques, it's kind of a tip and technique. Again, I'm just going to be really honest and share with you some secret little things that we do that is in alignment with the universe, that brings us into greater alignment with our true selves to create a much better world, a much happier, healthier, abundant world. So what we do, you know, I work with affirmations, but more recently I've been working with asking yourself a question, because as you ask yourself a question, your higher self and your subconscious go to answer that question. So in the bathroom, by the kettle, on the doors, and I'm going to actually show you them. I had written them down. I said, you know what? I'm going to actually show you them. So this is one that I've got stuck on the mirror in the guest bathroom. So it is, hi there, beautiful soul. Which empowered thoughts are you choosing to think at this moment? There it is. Which empowered thoughts are you choosing? And I just got some little blue tack, is that what they call it here?
Yeah.
And that sticks on the mirror. And when you see that, it really makes you think. So then I have to think, oh, what am I thinking that's empowering me? You know, I've got other different ones. I've got another one that says, you know, hi gorgeous, what positive thoughts are you choosing to think now? So that just encourages you to shift your focus onto more positive thoughts, particularly first thing in the morning, I always find. So that's one little thing. But other tips and techniques is, number one, give yourself time to allow yourself to establish and merge with the energies of your higher self, this inner wisdom, this part of you, because we're more than just a body. We are all a soul, a spirit that is journeying or on a pathway through life. And this higher part of us is always willing to help us expand, to have more expansive thoughts, thoughts that are limitless, thoughts that are infinite. So allow yourself to embrace the energies of your higher self. Dare to think, you know, amazing, outrageous thoughts. and be willing to let go of the old habits and to rebuild your life into a life you deserve, one of greater happiness and abundance. So give yourself that time to establish a good routine and to blend with those energies of your higher self. 2, step back from the thoughts that when you feel that loop going on that's maybe more negative. Step back from self-criticism and judgment and just see them from a higher point of view. And as you instigate those changes about the way you think, you know, it's natural or sometimes common when you begin that old thoughts come up, but just be gentle with yourself, be understanding as you stay on track. Just release and let go of the old, and it's okay. It's okay to have those old thoughts. Just be at ease. Yeah. Take some time out, be in nature, listen to some good music, watch a good comedy. I love that. Do a bit of yoga, or, you know, have a heart-to-heart with a supportive friend. So be supportive as you let go of the old and reprogram. And then the third thing, don't put a time limit on things, because things will unfold within the right time and the right place. And this is different for each individual. You know, as you endeavour to make changes within yourself, don't expect instant results, because then, you know, this just causes frustration. And frustration is on the lower scale, which will slow things down and then reflect back that frustration. So don't allow it to disrupt your energy. Just be patient and be gentle with yourself. So yeah, remember, the power is in the present moment. Choose to start change now. That's where your power lies, and to a greater abundant living, understanding, joy and happiness and more inspiration. So that is where your power lies, in the present moment. Always. So allow yourself to be who you are, be unique, and expand as you allow things to unfold. Okay. Last, don't compare with anybody else.
No, I think that's quite a strong one. You know, I used to do that a lot, and I still do it from time to time, comparison. But I catch myself a lot earlier now, and I think that's a key thing as well. Well, for me, really, my tip is meditate, meditate, and keep meditating. And that's not meditating for the whole day, although sometimes it would be nice. But really, it's finding a stillness within. It's isolating yourself from everything else that's going around, so that you've got some time to connect within. And in that connection, you can then start to introduce some more positive thoughts to yourself that are more supportive, more uplifting, more joyous. Because in those moments you'll find that you're actually listening. Your body, every part of you is listening a lot more when you're entering into that stillness. And if you and really, the more that, as I said before, the more you catch yourself trying to change these thoughts and everything else, then the easier it becomes.
The earlier on.
It becomes habit. What you're doing is you're putting new tweaks to the way you're thinking in place, and that becomes habit for you. I'm rushing through this a little bit because of the time. So we will be putting these on the website. But also, you know, maybe if you keep doing the same things and you're having the same outcome, you know, change something, make a change. If you're unhappy with your work, every time you drive to work, it's like a trigger to say you're unhappy. So drive a new way to work. You know, try something different. Just do something different, because doing the same thing all the time creates the same effect. So, well, I'm going to leave that there because of going on. But keeping committed to practicing,
Yeah.
Consistently practicing.
Yeah. Be committed to yourself.
Yeah, but I think it's being committed to everything, about being committed to being loving to yourself,
Yeah.
being committed to expanding yourself.
Yeah.
And then just maybe reinforcing those works with what Caroline had mentioned earlier, with some mirror work. Now, mirror work, we found this in the Louise Hay's book, and it says about looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I love and approve of you. I love you, and I approve of you and accept you as you are. It doesn't mean that you don't change or you don't want to change, but it means you're accepting yourself as you are without any judgment.
Yeah.
And that is a big, really
Huge
strong, powerful, very powerful. But mirror work, very powerful.
Yeah. So remember, your thoughts create your world. Your thoughts create your life. As you think, so you become. And this is a law of the universe. We're going to leave it there. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, beautiful Christine. Thank you, all those, for joining us. We really appreciate you chose to spend your time with us, and we hope you've enjoyed the show. I know I have.
Oh, yeah, I certainly have. Yeah.
Christine has.
Yeah.
So we hope that it's given you some food for thought. Keep thinking those positive thoughts. Make those changes today. And as you master your life through mastering your thoughts. Now, the next show on Wednesday, November the 18th is going to be part 2 of finding and following your purpose, because we had so much on that show.
Yeah.
We're going to just revisit that because it was so good, and we had a lot of good feedback.
So much more to give.
Yeah. So we're going to be with you Wednesday, November the 18th, and we really look forward to seeing you then. Don't miss it.
Yeah. And just to remember that the live lounge is always free, but if you would like to make a donation, then to support what we're doing, support our work, support our channel, then please go to our website, soulcrew.biz, and you can make a donation there. And just to remind you that we are here the 1st and 3rd Wednesdays of every month.
We are.
Yeah.
So sending all our love from our hearts to yours. Be true to yourself, be unique, be you, and love who you are, because that is who you came here to be. So from the Soul Crew, we wish you a beautiful day, sending you lots of love. See you next time. Take care, and bye for now. Ooh, love you.
Love to everybody.
Love you.
Keep loving yourself.
Yeah.